All right, hey everyone, welcome back to another episode. Happy Friday. Real quick before we get into today's video, please do me a huge favor and smash that subscribe button if you haven't, and we'll get right into it. So today we're going to go over my top three favorite chemical cleaning solutions for firearms. Obviously, most people use Rem oil. There's nothing wrong with that. I've used that my whole life up until recently. If this is all you have, great. It's going to clean your firearms just fine, but I'm a more of not OCD, but I'm very picky about how I clean my guns. So this, obviously I use quite a bit of this for lubrication and just to get some residual particles out of there if I have to. But I've got 3 different bottles of stuff, and they're all by Hops. This is not a sponsored video by any means, but I'm just a big fan of Hops and what they do. They've got very good products. I've used them for a while now. Excuse me. So I've got 3 different things. I've got cleaning. Well, I guess I should do this. Cleaning, lubrication, and cleaning/storage. So you've seen this in videos before. This is the Hops traditional gun bore cleaner. Now, the reason I like this, I like to use all 3 of these, including the Rem oil combined. You could spray a patch with Rem oil, and you aren't going to get as deep cleaned as this. I've been super surprised. Like when I shot my German Mauser, which I've made I think I've made a video about it. I'll have to do another one going over something else on it. But if you just spray a patch with some of this, you're going to get a good bit of the stuff out if you spend a whole day at the range, but you're not going to get all the lead and carbon residue that's going to leave your barrel clean for long-term use. Now, the reason I like this, it scrubs deep. It's got some weird chemicals in it it's more than Rem oil. It gets in there super deep. It gets down into the rifling. It gets even some of the copper jacket off. If you mix this, you put that in there. You put the bore brush in there. You put some of the kind of like a Q-tip, but it's only like it goes on the ramrod and goes in the barrel. You can really get deep in there, because the last thing I want on my rifles and my shotguns is to get rust and or pitting. That's going to deteriorate the accuracy overnight if you get even a speck of that in there. So this is this is Hops number 9 traditional bore cleaner. I go through so much of this stuff. I bought the first gun I ever bought. Well, I've had guns before, obviously, in the family, but the first one I bought, that Howa 1500 6.5, I bought a little bottle of this the first time I got it, that rifle, just to see how it was, and I have been using this ever since. That was April 17th, and I'm on my 3rd bottle of it now. I'm very picky, like I said, about my firearms and how I like to clean them. I like to keep them super clean. But anyways, that is that one. We're going to go on to lubrication now. So I have, obviously, a couple semi-automatic rifles, my 22s. This is good for handguns too, ARs, anything like that. This is also Hops lubricating oil. Now this is not a cleaning solution by any means. And not only is it good for firearms, but it's good for any mechanisms, is what it says. I'll have you read that there. It'll focus. So fishing reels, this would be going on too. Any gears, anything like that, small little contraptions with moving parts, this would be extremely well. The reason I like this too, it's got a nice little nozzle there on top. That'll, you can spray into a certain component of the mechanism of the firearm. For example, my Mauser, I like to keep it nice and lubricated. Obviously, it's a very smooth rifle the way it is, but I want it to be extra smooth so I can, if I wanted to, I could crank off shots super fast with that. Especially with my Ruger 1022, I'll go out to the range sometimes and put 500 rounds through it in a day. Have a little bottle of this in the range bag. Put the bore brush through real quick, make sure it doesn't jam up, and then spray a couple of drops in this in the bolt carrier group before I go out and in the midst of shooting after we dump a mag or something. This is going to keep it running smooth, clean, fast. Yeah, and this is like 2 1/4 flow ounces. This right here, Hops is reasonably inexpensive. Of course, it's not the highest end stuff, but I prefer it over Rem oil or some of the Remington products. I do have Remington's version of this. Let me grab it real quick. This seat I'm sitting on actually flips up, and I've got storage underneath it where I keep some of my firearm cleaning components. I guess I should go over that. This is their 40X bore cleaner. So it's pretty good stuff. I've used this too. I don't like it as much as the Hops though. It's a little bit more messy and it's got a weird smell to it. That's just me though. But anyways, like I said, bolt guns, anything that's got moving parts works great. Doesn't smell, and it stays on there for a good while. For example, I put like 3 drops on this on my Howa before I went to the range about 2 weeks ago, and I put 40 rounds through my Howa. Sighting it or resighting it in and trying to see if my new muzzle brake had any effect on it. and it ran smooth the whole time. It didn't have any problems with it. So yeah, that's the lubrication part of it. And next we're going to go on to, this is also a cleaning solution, but it also helps with storage too. For example, if you're going on a long trip, if you're going to be, say you're in the midst of moving, or you're going around and you're gone for some extended period of time, whether it's, you know, a couple weeks, couple months, or even a year. For example, say you bought a surplus gun and you're not going to shoot it for like the next 3 years because the ammo's so hard to find, or you got to reload your own. This Hops 9, I keep calling it number 9, Hops 9, I guess is what it's called, powder solvent. So basically what you do with this, you combine this with a bore brush. So whether it's a 22, 30 cal, anything like that, you scrub the bore brush in there first. And like the same thing I do with it's very similar to this, but this has got a storage element to it. And what you do, you take a patch on a ramrod, you run it through there a couple of times. I usually take 3 different patches and I'll run each patch through there 5 times, put a bore brush through and do that about 2 or 3 times to make sure it's spick and span along with bore brush and a bore snake. Now the good thing about this, it does help, after you do this, put on a dry patch and just get the residual through it, because it can, you know, it is kind of flammable, so that's not good if you're running hot powder through there. That's one thing I will say, make sure you clean this out of your gun after you're done cleaning. Anytime you finish, put a clean patch through there and get all that residual stuff. The one thing, do not soak nickel-plated firearms with this, but something that it's good with this, it produces, you know, it just basically, what am I trying to say? God, words are so tough. It has a certain chemical in it that if you're keeping it in the gun safe, if you're in a humid area like here in Missouri in the summer, it's pretty humid at times, it's going to keep, if there's any residual moisture in your safe, or if it's dry in the winter, it's going to keep it from forming any rust or any type of thing that's going to pit your barrel. So that's something I like about that. Now, if I had to choose between these two, like obviously these clean solutions, I'd go with the Hops anytime. The reason I carry this in my range bag, though, is obviously because it's got a nozzle like that. So these are, you know, obviously probably some of your most common brands. You've got your Remington side of things, and you've got your Hops. Now, there are obviously way more high-priced stuff, but I don't make a lot of money, so obviously I've go to lower end stuff, and this has not failed me yet. You get a good ramrod, some good patches. I pick up these I think this just Callan or Allen cleaning patches. This works for my 22 also. It says 25 to 35 caliber, but if you fold them in half or cut them in half, you can fit them in a 22 very easily. You put a couple of these together, you can clean a 12 gauge. This, bore brushes and everything, and that should be what you need to clean your firearm. So yeah, these right here are my 3 favorites to clean with. That'll be the thumbnail. Oh, let me fix this. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any suggestions on any type of solutions that I should try, especially since I am in the surplus firearm world now with my new Mauser, please leave a comment down below. Also subscribe if you haven't, and have a wonderful Friday, and I will see you people soon.